All right. Hi, welcome. My name is Favor, and thank you so much for getting the AI that writes like you course. I am going to be walking you through the video. This video might take a while. I'm going to break it down via chapters below so that you can jump around to whichever one you want. So the first thing when you get access, when you pay and get access, this is the page that you jump into. You are shown the Notion page, and the video would be here. By the time you are watching this, video is going to be here. Right, so if you want to dive in straight into the AI writing tools, you can just click this button and you would just see the list of all the prompts that we have. But if you want to get more context, you can read through. I talk about how I started. I talk about how I was building my personal brand and why I started using AI. A couple of weeks ago, I think this was on the 11th of August. Yeah, I posted a thread on Twitter that had over 732,000 views, and it was written with AI, and nobody could tell, right? Everybody was asking, how did I write this? It was like, they were relating with it, and when I later said that, look, I actually wrote this with AI, nobody could understand it, right? Right. So if you are trying to create content of any kind, you probably have tried AI once or twice, whether it's blog posts, whether it's emails, whatever it is. But the biggest problem with AI is that it sounds, really bad. So we just dive into, why AI sounds really bad. So the biggest problem is that um, most people don't understand what makes voice work, right? You want AI to not sound like AI, you want it to sound in a particular way, but most people don't know how to do that, right? So the first thing you need to understand is that the answer to actually helping or creating, the answer to actually creating um, a good, a good good result with AI is training the AI. Just like companies like OpenAI, Google with Gemini, Anthropic with Claude, they train their models to be better at certain things. You can also train your own chatbots with a couple of quick prompts to make it sound like you better. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So if I so I have I've already done my voice analysis. You would see that. I just want to quickly show you how it works. So for example, if I open my voice analysis document, let me quickly open it so that you can see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to show you the process by which I created it. If I open the document, this is an analysis of my voice. This is what makes my voice, me. This is what makes my voice me. So I'm going to show you how, the differences that this can make. So I'm going to try to first write something with a new ChatGPT account, and then I'm going to use my own actual ChatGPT account, and then you would see the difference. Now for my ChatGPT account, I've not actually uploaded the writing voice. Actually, I'll upload it, and you'll see the difference. So for example, let's say I want to write a prompt about why most productivity advice doesn't work, right? So let's say I want to write about why most productivity advice doesn't work, and I come here and I paste that prompt, right, and I write it. You're going to see that it's going to sound right. It's going to sound very, very. I mean, while the idea is good, right? So most productivity advice doesn't work because the tips are wrong, blah blah blah. It doesn't sound like me, right? And you're going to be seeing a lot of AI templates. So you can see the EM dash, not because you can see it's not X is Y, right? You can see the truth, question statement, the truth, comma, stuff like, here's what I learned, the truth. That's how AI sounds. Then productivity isn't about X, it's about Y. It does that a lot, right? So instead of this, do this. So that's how AI sounds. So technically, it's not wrong in the sense that nothing that is written here is actually breaking the rules of grammar, but it's just not a good piece of content. So now let's say I take this writing voice analysis, right? This document. So let's say I take this document and then I bring it into ChatGPT and I say I add it. Let's say I add it from Google Drive, and I say, give me a sec, from Google Drive. It's not working. Okay. Okay. So let me download the document so that I can let me download the document so I can upload it. So download as a PDF. All right. So let me just put it in downloads. So if I open if I open ChatGPT and I upload the document, okay. So I upload it and I say using my voice analysis, right? And I'll say write a LinkedIn post. So using the information in the document I attached. So it's still loading. Let's give it a few minutes to load. It should be faster than this. Let me re-upload. Um, not sure why it's taking a while. All right, so I've uploaded it. Take about to upload. I'll reload the page. So and this is the prompt. So it's using the information in the document that I attached. That is my writing voice analysis. So and I click enter. So you would see the difference in. So you can see the difference in the results. Let me show both side by side. So right, look at this. So the hook is the same, right? Of course, that can change because I have a framework that allows you to choose better hooks. But the idea is that you can see the difference, right? You can see the difference. Same chat GPT, just with more training like me. See what it says. Most productivity it doesn't work, not because you're lazy, not because you don't want it bad enough, but because you can see that it's still similar, but it sounds more Nigerian like. So this one just talks about this one is more generic, this one is more specific to it's not something like you live in Lagos where NEPA can take light at any time and your community is 2 hours on a good day, right? That's context that I'm able to deliver it. Or right, so here's no, but you still had some problem like here's the truth and this the truth, right? So that's another thing that we're gonna have to pick out. Productivity isn't about so you can see it's not about X, it's about Y. There's still a little bit of that. So but you can see that this is a lot more like what I would sound like, right? So this is a lot more of how I would sound like. So yeah, that's exactly how this AI tool works. It helps you make the content that you're creating a lot more better. So I'm going to be going into each and every one of these sections we have on the AI voice, right? The AI course, and I'll encourage you to. It's quite detailed. It's going to take some time, but I implore you that you stick with it and watch it to the end. And I believe that you're going to get a lot of value out of this. So let's go back to Notion and let's walk through one by one. So right, so let's start with the AI Humanizer. Right, that's the first thing you want to set up. When you get this, you want to set up your AI Humanizer. So the first thing is that you want to sound like yourself, right? So you want to sound like yourself. So the first thing to do is that you need to take this information and you need to put it inside the preferences section. So if you come to ChatGPT here, this is ChatGPT, right? You'll find something called the preferences. So you see, customize ChatGPT. You see preferences. So you can put in your nickname. All of that is not important. What you want to put it is what you want it to do, right? How you want it to sound. So you can copy this and put it in here, right? You can copy this and put it in here. You can copy this and put it in here, and then once you save it, that's how it's going to sound. Now, if you can't create projects because this is a free account, but if it's a paid account, you can create projects. So if this is my free chat, this is my own paid ChatGPT account, so I can come to customize ChatGPT, right? You see the traits it should have, how I want it to sound, right? What I do, and then what it calls me. So you want to do all of that. So right. So this is where it's supposed to be. I think, did I put it in the right place here? Let's see. So it's supposed to be here. Sorry, this is the wrong place. So it's supposed to be here. If you use Claude, it's the same thing, right? I'll show you. I have a similar instruction in Claude. So if you open Claude, I use Claude a lot. So if you open Claude and I go to settings, you would see the same. You would see the same. So this is the instruction, though this is the former version. If you follow me on Twitter, this is the version I showed. So let me add the new instructions now. So right, so I'll just change this, and right, so that is actually, you know what, I need to save the former one so that I don't lose it. Let me just quickly save that. Give me a sec. All right. Right, so I have that saved. Now we can go back to Claude and change this to what we have in to what we have in to what we have here. So we can just copy this and put it into Claude as well. So you're going to use that. Then also if you are creating projects, if you have a project, so AI, Claude and ChatGPT allow you to create projects. So these are all different projects I've created. So you can create a new project, right? Let's say I want to create a new project. Let's say I call it favor testing. I can say that I am testing out an AI writing course, right? And then I create project. So inside the project, you can see instructions. So I would usually just put that instruction here so that it's just, in addition to any other instruction I put, I just put the instruction here, click save, and boom, that instruction is ready to be used, right? And it fits in here. So anything that I want to do is going to use those instructions. So let's see another one, right? I think I've added instructions here now. So now let's start a new chat. Let's start a new chat here, and now use the same prompt like before. The prompt that we used before was write a LinkedIn post about why most productivity advice doesn't work, and let's see if it sounds better. So same thing, but now we have the instructions, the base instructions. So let's see. You can see it's trying to, it's minimizing. We have only one em dash. It's minimizing it. ChatGPT can be pretty stubborn, so that's one of the problems I have with ChatGPT, and I prefer Claude. So now let's say we do this for Claude as well. We can do this for Claude using the instructions, and then it should work. So this is a pro account, to be fair. So it takes extra time to think, and then it uses the information. Right, you can see this is why I like Claude. You can see stuff like falls flat on his face. All right, so this is basically, this is basically a bit. Of course, this is basically just about sounding more human. There are better ways to write a LinkedIn post, but that's just so you can see the difference between what post written without the AI humanizer and the post written about the AI humanizer. I would mention, if I was going to use this, I'll probably mention that I don't like question statements. So I would probably say something like, I like this, but I don't like the use of question. Now remember that this just has the AI analyze humanizer. It doesn't have my actual writing voice yet. Question statement like, so I just copy this. Can you follow the project instructions and sound more human? All right. So so it's just a simple correction. You're gonna get way better content than what you got originally. So all right. So this is the thinking. ChatGPT has a lot of thinking. So right, this makes it a lot better. Right. This makes it a lot better. So that's how you use the AI humanizer. So that's the first thing you want to use when you use the AI humanizer, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Claude, and if you're on a free account and you cannot, you've added it, you can also copy and paste it to the beginning of every. You can actually paste it to the beginning of every chat. So for example, if you want to start a new chat, you can just go into the voice profile. You can just copy this, right? Put it at the beginning of every chat, right? And then now write the instructions below and say, for example, write a LinkedIn post about why networking events are mostly a waste of time. So you try that prompt and you would see how it works. So you can see it's taking all the instructions. It's taking all the instructions, no em dash. You see no em dash at all, right? You can see there's no em dash at all. There's no question mark, there's no question tag. So that's the beauty of this particular system. So yeah, that's how the AI humanizer works. So that you follow the instructions. Like I said, you should put it in the custom instructions, personal preferences under Claude, and then if you use project, also put it in the project. You're going to be using project a lot, so I actually did ask it to put in a test so you can see how it sounds, right? So basically, this will be the base instructions that will be everywhere we use it. These are going to be the base instructions that will be everywhere we work with AI. So anytime you're using AI, you should have it at the back of your mind that this setting is already there and it answers most of the questions. So this is basically the major thing that, the two major things that you actually paid for. How to make your AI sound like a human, then how to make it sound like you specifically. And then I'll now go into more content frameworks. So let's go back to the main. Let's go back to Right, so let's go back to um, next is the voice profile builder. So open the voice profile builder, and this is where you're actually going to build your own AI that will actually sound like you. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to teach it your voice mechanics. You want AI to know how you sound. Basically, when it comes to AI, the thing that helps you succeed with AI is that you give it enough context. It understands your context, it understands what you like to do, what you don't like to do. And one thing that AI is really good at is pattern recognition. So instead of you thinking about how do I condense how my writing sounds like, you can just carry all the writings that you have, condense it, and deliver it into AI. So the first thing, so what you are building is you have a voice profile, just like what I showed you earlier, just like the just something you have something like this, right? You have something like this that I created. You have something like this. So I'll show you how to create it because I actually have my own sample. So I'll show you how to create it. So let's go back to Notion, right? So a one-page document that teaches AI to write exactly for you. So instead of saying things like, write this short, write a conversational engaging tone, blah blah blah, you are going to be able to provide really, really, really detailed instructions. So the first thing you want to do is you want to gather your writing sample. So you typically need at least 3 to 5 pieces of writing that actually sounds like you. Now, if you've been writing before, I would recommend that you pick the content that you are really, really proud of. So, for example, if there's any content that you wrote that you didn't use AI for at all, that sounds like you, perfect. If you had maybe a Twitter post that went viral, a LinkedIn post that got a lot of attention, you wrote an email that a lot of people loved, you want to save stuff like that. So you want to look for both long and short content. You want it to sound like you. You want to also look at a number of subjects, so that it has a diverse space to pick from. So you don't want to choose corporate emails, formal document. Don't go and choose a legal document, right? You don't want to use content that you wrote for somebody else, especially if you want to use this for yourself. Now, if you are trying to use this for a client, then of course you want to start with their own work. But if you're using it for yourself, you want to make sure that you are using content that you wrote for yourself. Don't choose too short posts. Now, if you don't have enough content, maybe you have not been writing and you just want to start writing, I thought about that as well. So I already have samples. So I would say that you just pick out of this, I think there are 10 prompts here, just pick 3 to 4 of them and spend some time writing. Don't use AI. You don't use AI right now. Just spend some time actually writing about it. In fact, one of the things that you can do is record yourself talking about it and get a transcript. You can easily get a transcript by installing Fathom, starting a Google Meet meeting, and just talk about it, right? So what's one thing that people piss you off that people do in your industry? Talk about it, pour down your ideas into a video, and then write out a post as if you're going to write a blog post or a LinkedIn post about it. How you would sound, exactly how you would sound. Don't worry about it's not structured properly. I already thought about that. You just want to make sure that it sounds like you. So you can, if you don't have content you've written before, right, you can use all of these questions to sort of show who you are. Don't try to write like anybody. Try to sound the way you would sound. And it's about these prompts are supposed to help bring out your real feelings. It's not off the shelf. It's not simple information. It's not what did you eat for dinner. It's not what do you think about. It's things that really, really, really matter to you. So if you can write 3 to 4 of these prompts, put them in a good doc, you have your samples. So I have my own samples that I will show you now. So I would show you my sample. So I have a document called, so these are all my samples. So these are samples of my long form tweets. I have my long form tweet here. Tweets that actually worked. And this particular tweet got me 1.3 million views. This one, I think it got me like maybe 500,000, 300,000 views. This one currently has, I think, 16,000 views. This one got me, I don't know how many views. I think this was like 40k or 50k views. I think this one got me like another, I think 50, 30 or 40k views. So basically, these are some of the content that I wrote, and I didn't write any of this. Yeah, I wrote them off my head. So that's how I talk. This is how I talk. This is my writing voice. I also have LinkedIn posts. LinkedIn posts are a little bit less, a little bit more structured, but this is my LinkedIn post. I see LinkedIn. So let me zoom in so you can see very well. So these are my LinkedIn posts, and then I used to write newsletters as well. So I think I have like 4 newsletters. This is 17 pages of my newsletter. So I have newsletters. So I copied everything and put it into a document. Now, if you don't have, you can put it into a document. You can just download each of them as PDFs and then upload all the PDFs. But I prefer to just use as a single document. So this is the document. Personally, I prefer to use Claude. So a lot of the things I'll be building will be in Claude and not ChatGPT because I personally prefer Claude. But all of this work with ChatGPT as well. So this is my video. So I come to my voice. So I would copy this, right? And if you're using a paid account, I'll show you how to do with a paid account and a free account. So if I come to favor testing, right, I can attach that document to a project. Remember, I call this favor testing. So I could actually, you know what, I could actually build a new project. I could actually build a new project and call it voice analysis. Favor voice analysis. So create project. The first thing I'll do, of course, is to add the instructions. Let me copy the instructions from here. So I come here and I put the instructions, and then I can now provide the file. So because it's my Google Drive, I can pick from my Google Drive, or if it's not my Google Drive where you're sharing, or you can upload a PDF format, or you can just copy and paste the text. You can actually add text content. You can just call it voice profile, blah blah, and just paste it. But since I have it on Google Drive, I can just call from Google Drive. So these are my voice profile samples. So once you have your samples are there. The next step is to ask it to analyze. So you're just going to use this prompt, right? You're going to use this prompt. You're going to copy this prompt and paste it into the chat. So I use Claude, so I would paste it. Sorry, no, it's not here. It's this one. Let's go this one. It's this one. So this is the voice profile sample. I would now paste the prompt. Now, because I uploaded my samples, I would say that my writing sample has been uploaded into the project with the title voice profile samples. Right, so copy, I can remove all of this, and then these are the instructions for the analysis. So all right, I can just say remember the project instructions, so that it doesn't use em dashes on how to write like a human. So now this, you don't technically need to add this. It's just a good idea to add sometimes, but once you start getting used to it, you don't really need to add it. So I send that, and it analyzes to analyze the document, to find the document and analyze it. While I'm doing that, let me try and do that with the free version of ChatGPT in case that's what you have. So I can create a new chat. Okay, first I'll have to download the voice profile sample. So let me download it. Right, so I'll download this, save as downloads. Let me put favor so that, right, so I save it, and then I come here, I upload the file, favors writing profile, blah, blah. So let's look at Claude. This should, yeah, so right, it's already analyzing it. So you can determine on personality, structural patterns, so how I construct my sentences, how I construct my paragraphs, even my list field, conversational or corporate. I use ellipses for natural pauses, like I'm thinking out loud. I use personal anecdotes as hooks. I use bold declarations. I use casual admissions, right? I use my transitions usually, so I use that a lot. Let me be clear. The thing is, here's what I learned. I use this a lot. So I use Nigerian integration, self, sha, jackpot for immigration, cultural references that add personality without necessarily alienating non-Nigerian readers. Then I use teaching languages. So these are the distinctive elements. So to replicate this voice, start conversations, don't announce. Mix sentence length deliberately. Follow big statements with short punches. Success is predictable and repeatable. That's the real secret. Include Nigerian expressions naturally. Name real things, right? Share the messy middle, right? Use teaching frameworks. Be opinionated but explain why. Mix philosophical and practical. Write like I'm speaking to a friend. End with an action or reflection. So that's how I teach. So now this is great. I can tell it to please put all of this in an artifact. So we have things called artifacts in Claude. It's like canvas in code in ChatGPT where you can easily copy, so that I can copy it into a Google Doc. Don't edit anything, just replicate. So give it some time. So while it's doing that, so these are my samples. Here, let me just copy this. So let me just post this. So now, depending on, because it's a free account, you might have to actually, put the instructions, the instructions on how to write like a human. But at this point, it's already inside the project instructions. You don't need to. But if you want to, if you are very keen about it, you can copy those instructions that I showed you, the instructions that are here, right? The instructions that are here. Let me open this in a new tab so we can just quickly go and pick. So the instructions that are here, right? You can just So in instruction data here, you can just copy these instructions and put them on top if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. So I asked it to analyze my content. So give it some time to analyze. It's taking some time to think. Now, because this is a free account, you can't get the smartest model. So that's one of the challenges, right? So here's everything. So it's not going to be as detailed as Claude was. It's not going to be as detailed as Claude was. So now this is, so I can copy what Claude created, everything that Claude created, I can copy and paste it into a document. So I can simply copy it and then create a new document and title it favors testing, favors voice analysis. So I know that this is for testing. I can just include it as testing so that we know that this is for testing, because there's one I use practically. And so if you're on a free, you can just copy it. If you're on the free tier, you can just copy it and then go and paste it into a document. So if you're on the free trial, if you're on the free version of ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, just copy it and paste it into a chat, and boom, you have your. So I can call this as ChatGPT favors voice analysis. You can do this on the paid version of ChatGPT. It's the same thing. So that's how this works. So we already have our voice. We already have our voice. My voice analysis. This is the one that we're going to use. So let's go back to Notion. All right. So I've analyzed my this thing. So now I need to convert the analysis into a voice profile. Even though ChatGPT has already done half of the work. So you will now take this document. So this document that is testing favors voice profile analysis. I would now go into Claude and I would start a new chat, but now I would upload the document, the document. I will upload that document again, and then come to the chat and voice profile creator. Use the writing analysis below. So to convert into a practical copy paste ready to use voice AI. So I copy this, I put it into Claude. I can say that instead of take the voice analysis attached in the project docs as testing favors voice profile analysis, right, and convert it into a practical copy ready. So this is the format. Now again, I usually recommend you add remember to follow the project instructions to sound human. Another thing you can do is that you can take these instructions, you can actually take these instructions, you can copy them and put them into a document. So you can put them into a document. You can say docs.new, you can put it into a document. So again, if you are not using Google Docs, you probably find it find Google Docs very, very useful, because it's very, very easy to create and store documents. So I can put AI Humanizer instructions, right? And then you can just add this into the project document. You can just add this into the project document as AI Humanizer Instructions. Why is it not reading? Maybe it hasn't saved. So I'll just copy the link. You can, so ChatGPT Claude also allows you to add documents by copying the link. So you can just copy the link and it will fetch the document. So instead of saying remember to follow the project instructions, you can just say remember to follow the instructions in the AI Humanizer document to sound human. So it's basically going to reference the document to convert it into a voice profile and reference the here humanizer document to sound human. So let's click enter, give it time. Same thing you're going to do on the free version, right? You take this, so you can copy everything that you have here. You can copy everything that you have here and then just copy it. Or you can even just copy the prompt itself like we used. You can just copy the prompt and continue from there. So continue from there, just copy. So just copy this. They just took light. Give me a second. Let me. Sorry about that, guys. They took. I think they took like I had to switch to my video. I had to switch to my solar rather. So yeah. So where were we? Right. So you, if you're on the free version, you can just continue with the prompt. Right. You can just continue with the actual prompt. Right. So paste it and then just edit this to take the writing analysis above, right, since it's in the same chat, and complete. So so it talks about all of the things, and then you can again mention, so if you had referenced, so for example, if you had referenced the here AI humanizer, the AI humanizer content earlier, you could just tell it that I should maintain it. You notice that it didn't use a lot of what's the word now, em dashes or any of these things. You notice that the content that it wrote sounded, or even this content sounds relatively human, as opposed to as opposed to sounding AI like. Even the response I gave sounds human. So you can hit upload on this and it will convert it into a voice profile, right? See, so these are direct instructions for AI to use. So right, transitions I favor, words to avoid, structural preferences, my voice profile. So you see these are, so you can just copy this and use this is your voice profile, and attach that. So if I use Claude, it has already written my voice profile, so I can just copy it here and attach that. I can just copy that, Control C, and then I can put it into the testing, and I just put it as a new tab. So now what that means is that you can either put it as a new tab or as a new document. It doesn't matter. What that means is that whenever you want to write, you just reference this document. So you can just say Claude or ChatGPT should reference this document, or you download it as a PDF and you upload it into your product instructions and you refer to it, and so it already knows what you sound like and it's going to do its best to reference this. So that's how the voice testing, the voice works. So for example, now let's say I want to use this, let's say I want to test this, and I say write about why personal branding advice is mostly garbage, sounding like me. So I could come here and I would say, right, I could say, I could go back here and create a new chat and say, now say use the you write in my voice, use the voice profile in my testing favors voice. I'm not sure. I didn't. All right, so I could say that I should use the voice profile in my testing favors voice profile analysis. Document to sound like me, as well as instructions in my AI Humanizer. Now, of course, I know that this looks, I mean, this is already 30 minutes in and it might look overwhelming. I haven't got to the frameworks, but the beauty of this is that you don't have to do it every day. Once you have it, once you want to use your AI, you just need to set this up once, and once you want to use your AI, it works every time. So the AI Humanizer instructions. Right, so you do that, so you can test that now and just, ask Claude AI, and then give it a few minutes to run. So I can do the same thing, right? I can ask it that, okay, using the voice profile now, right? So I can also do this. I can say, so using the voice profile, write a write about why personal branding, write a LinkedIn post, or I can say write 100 to 200 words about why personal branding. Advice is mostly garbage, right? So now it's going to use everything that is already here, right? And so I didn't specify how long I wanted to write, so it's writing it like a blog post. But if I wanted something shorter, and I said 100 to 200 words, this one is much longer. This one is way too long. This one is more like a blog post. But I mean, just with one prompt, look at the content I got, right? I mean, if you have, you can look at. I mean, this is like what I would write for Twitter, right? You know, like even come with context about Gary V. It talks about treating like a product on a shelf instead of a human being. Take the subject, like specific advice that um specific advice that actually uses who I am. So I'm a marketing guy that talks about philosophy. I talk about Upwork strategies. I share Nigerian cultural references, and occasionally I go about why I don't believe in it being a victim. If I follow traditional branding, I have to pick one and stay there. Miss me with that nonsense. That is something that AI on its own will never come up with, right? So this is something that I can actually just copy and post in a newsletter and boom, right? And I've not even started using the framework. So that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of this system. The more it knows about you, the more it understands your context, it can begin to, write better like you. So I do the same process for any of my clients. When I want to write for my clients, I simply just upload their existing content and I tell them this is how I want them to sound, or this is the content that they have, and it matches it almost perfectly. And that's how I use AI to, right? So that's how the voice profile thing works, right? So the next step is the next step is so we've done implements and voice, right? And the next step is framework, right? So now framework is probably the biggest one, the one that took me the most time to build, because it's responsible for like 90% of my success, apart from like making AI sound like me. Having frameworks shortens the time. It allows you to produce great work, at scale. So, after you teach AI your voice, it's time to know actually what to create. It's one thing for AI to sound like it. Next thing is, what do I actually want to create, right? So, for example, what I just did now, I said write a LinkedIn post about X and hope for the best, but that's not how it works. Most of these pieces of content actually have a structure, right? So, so what I did was I built out framework. So let's open the framework library. So here I put, for every type of content you want to create, I created framework. So there are 4 ready-made frameworks that we'll test out, and then there's I explain how to actually build out your framework. So let's quickly go through the ready-made frameworks. So quickly, I have a LinkedIn framework. I use this if you want to start creating content on LinkedIn. You can use this framework. I built it on some of the best LinkedIn content I could find. If you're trying to grow on Twitter, I how to break down complex ideas. I analyze some of the best tweets, both my own and other people's own, and condense that into a framework. And it's here. Then same thing if you want to do cold emails, and if you want to do newsletter / blog post. So I'm going to go over all of them very quickly as fast as I can, and then I'm going to spend time. The longest thing that you need to pay attention to is how to build your own framework. That's the longest part. So I also talk about how to build your own framework, and it's relatively similar to what we just did. You upload 5 to 10 examples of successful content that you want to use. The AI will identify what makes that content successful. The same way it identify what made my voice. But now, rather than focusing on how I sound, it focuses on the structure of that piece of content. So whether it's cold email, whatever it is, then once you do that, you get your custom framework, and then there's a 3 document system that you use. And then it takes a while. It might take you like 2 hours to finish it the first time, but once you have that, whether you want to write YouTube scripts, you want to write Upwork, and I will show you like how it works with Upwork. So whether you want to write Upwork proposals, whatever it is, you can do that. So let's get started with the LinkedIn because that's the first one. So let's go to the LinkedIn content framework. Now, it's important that you state this, that this post or this post, these frameworks rather, they do not tell you what to write, right? The idea of what exactly you want to write, what you want to talk about, the unique insight that you want to share, that is going to be all you. I'm not touching that for you. So you notice that I didn't talk about giving you content ideas. I didn't touch that. What I'm talking on is the idea that you have in your head, how to write it in a way that is going to get, you're going to sound nice, work well, and actually bring out useful information. So the first thing to do is you want to get your documents. You want to get you want to get so there are two documents you need. So the first document you need is a LinkedIn setup prompt. So it's, you see it below, and then the master LinkedIn framework reference doc. So I've already done the framework document for you. Like, you don't need to edit anything, you just need to open it. So if you want to download a PDF, you can download the PDF here, it downloads instantly. But if you want to open it in document, this is what the master framework does. Of course, I can edit it because I have access, but you won't be able to edit it. You just make a copy. Just come here and make a copy. But this is what the LinkedIn framework reference looks like. This is what it looks like. So it contains, so for example, you see the voice guidelines. It always has, I mean, it already has some voice guidelines inbuilt, even beyond the voice profile, what you should never do, how it should sound authentic. Let me zoom in so you can see this very well. Right, it talks about the type of content you want to choose. So there's a personal experience kind of post, right? There's the analysis tier that you want to do an analysis. There's a contrarian take, so you want to say something that is not popular to get attention, right? Then there's also the list. If you want to make a list, 5 things that helps you do X, 10 things that helps you do X, this is a good list. Then if you want to compare two things, so maybe you want to compare two tools, maybe you want to compare ChatGPT and Claude, you want to compare Nigeria versus South Africa, whatever it is you want to do, you want to compare. This is the kind of post that you want to use. So basically, depending on the kind of content you want to create, you can simply just mention it, and then behind the scenes process, you want to share what you have done before, what you're working on behind the scenes. This is for that kind of post. And then and then there are hooks. So hooks are basically the first words, right? So the first thing that somebody sees. So when somebody goes on LinkedIn, for instance, that thing that you see at the top is called a hook. So when you're scrolling, you see something and then you now choose whether you want to read more. So that first content that you see is the hook, and it's the most important because that's where again puts attention. So there are different types of hooks. So I came up with, I think I have like 4 types. There's experience-based hook, there's contrarian hooks, behind the scene hooks, analysis hooks. So how to use this is basically you use the LinkedIn setup prompt. So this all of these instructions are for AI. It's not for you. All of these instructions are for AI. So it's enough for you. So all you just need to do is make a copy and then add it to your AI. So either you make a copy or download the PDF, then upload it straight into your AI document, and that's all you need to do. Now, if you are using a free AI, you obviously have to upload this. You have to upload your voice, your voice document, and then the setup prompt. So let's go back and check the setup prompt. So if you go back to the setup prompt, right, you would see you need to copy this prompt and edit it. So if I were you, I would copy this and I would come to I'll create a new document. So I'll create a new document and I'll call it my LinkedIn setup prompt. So I would paste it and I'll call it my LinkedIn setup, my LinkedIn setup prompt, right? So this allows you to basically so you have to fill this, right? You would fill this. You fill in your name, your background, the areas that you want, what this specific experience that you have, your accomplishments, how you want to sound, what makes you different, blah blah blah. Now, if you are lazy like me and you don't want to spend time filling it, right? If you've been using AI for a while, it probably knows a little bit about you. For example, if you've been using ChatGPT, it probably knows what you're trying to achieve. Maybe it has your resume, it has a context of who you are. You can just upload this document into your AI if you're already using it for a while and tell it, please, I need you to help me fill it out. I do that a lot, right? That's what I did to fill in my own LinkedIn setup prompt. Let me show you. So this is my own that I have filled. Let me just name it Favors LinkedIn setup prompt. So this is my own information, right? So this is my name, what I'm trying to do, what's special about me, what my expertise areas, my key accomplishments, how I want to sound, what makes me different, who my target audience is, blah blah blah. So this is my LinkedIn setup prompt. So now I have my LinkedIn setup prompt. I have the master LinkedIn framework reference document, right? So I have those two, and then nope, split separate tabs. Yes, so I have all of that. So what's the next step? Next step is to upload all of this into your AI tool. So if you have a paid AI account, just create a new project called LinkedIn Content and upload all the documents that you have. So you can create a new one, but personally, I will just continue with I'll continue with this. So I would upload um, so I can just add all the new documents that I need and then start with the prompt. So I would add the master. I'll add the master. I'll add the master. I'll add my setup LinkedIn setup prompt, and then I would add my so that's my setup prompt, and then I'm supposed to add the master LinkedIn framework. Now, of course, you won't be able to add this. You have to make a copy of your own. So I've added the two documents. So if you're on a free plan, you can just create a new chat, for example, and then upload all of this as PDFs. So you upload the master framework, LinkedIn framework reference, the LinkedIn setup prompt, and the voice profile analysis. So let me do that so that you can see how it works, even though it's basically the same thing. So let's look at this. Let's download this. So let's download this as a PDF. Okay, let's download the PDF. Let's download the favors LinkedIn setup prompt as a PDF. Download as a PDF. The problem with downloading as a PDF actually, as opposed to linking from Google Drive, is that you have to, anytime you make a change, you have to re-download the PDF. So for example, maybe I decide that I want to change what success looks like, but I want to add another goal. I have to download a new PDF. So that's basically the reason why personally I don't like PDFs, but it works perfectly fine. So we have the AI Humanizer instruction. So let me download the AI Humanizer instructions as well. So I'll download this. Right. So I think these are the four things I need. So I can create a new chart, and then I'll just upload all of those documents. So I'll upload my, what did I call that one now? My testing favor. So this, I think these are the three documents I need, right? My voice, my LinkedIn setup prompt, my humanizer instructions. Oh yeah, I also need the LinkedIn framework reference. This, so I would probably just download this as a PDF, and then I just rename it as, I can remove the doing change and just change this. Yes, so saving that, I can now upload all four of them. I can upload all four of them. I click open, and then they're going to all upload. So now I'm ready to create content. So it has my LinkedIn setup, it has my humanizer instructions, it has, so if you go back to Notion, you would now, so I've covered step 3. So step 4 will be creating your first post, right? So if I paid user, again, just tell what you want to create. So for example, I want to create a LinkedIn post, so you just need to give it the prompt of what you need to create. Same thing with the free account user, copy paste or 3 documents or upload the document, same thing, right? So you give it to, again, like I told you, I'm not going to tell you the content you need to create. You have to spend time dumping what is in your brain, right? That's basically it. You have to dump what is in your brain, what you want to talk about, dump it into the AI prompt, and it makes it very, very easy. So for example, here's a prompt that I would use, right? So here's an example of a prompt that I would use. So I would post it here. Now, given that this is a new chat, I would say write, no, actually, I don't think that's complete. I would say, right, okay, so yeah, exactly. So I would say use my voice profile, LinkedIn setup, and master framework document to create a, now this is going to be a personal experience post, but remember there are different types of posts. If you look at this, you can choose, and if you are lazy, you don't need to tell it to create a kind of, you can just tell it to choose, right? But I'm going to do that. I'll tell you to choose the type of post. So I would say that I'll just copy this, Claude. So I would say I'll put this on top, and I'll say use my voice profile. So I usually find it useful to actually use the actual name, because it's going to search. So in a situation whereby you have multiple documents with the same name, it is usually advisable that you use the exact name of the document. So I would use my testing voice profile, favors voice profile analysis, favors LinkedIn setup prompt, and what's that one? And master LinkedIn framework reference. To create a LinkedIn post about the idea below. So I would say from the master framework doc, choose the best post type and hook type for this post and write. So this is how I would, for example, write a LinkedIn post and then just click enter. I could also do this here. I could also just copy this document and basically just the same post, right? Or I can say using the document uploaded above. I can just, since I already just uploaded, I can say use the document I uploaded to create a LinkedIn post, right? About the idea below. This is the idea from the master framework. Choose the best post type. So you see, it shows personal experience post and it shows the hook formula. So again, it writes the post for me and boom. A stock email campaigns when converting users to sign up for current and disappear. So we did most things to be obsessed over pricing. We spent weeks A/B testing different price points, restructuring our tiers, analyzing competitor pricing. We were convinced that was the barrier. Then someone said something obvious. Have you actually talked to these users? So pricing wasn't the users' issue at all. People were confused. I mean, this is the post that I can. The only thing I would change personally is this the lesson. So for example, I would say you used a question statement. The lesson. According to the project instructions, you should change, not use that. Please fix. And following that instruction, it should, because to be fair, I didn't give it any instruction about the AI Humanizer. You notice that all the documents I mentioned, the AI Humanizer document was not there. So I probably should have added it as a prompt, but right, it's fixing it, right? So we just fixed that part. Here's what I learned from this, right? Personally, I don't like this, but it works. But I'll probably change this to, I'll probably just change it, either remove this completely or change it. If I that's how I obsess about writing. But again, it's completely possible. But personally, I can just remove this here that I learned about this and change it to I learned that. I just change it to I learned that, and you are going right. So and that's a LinkedIn post. So we can do the same here, right? We can do the same here. Give it some time. Here's the best we see. So it shows personal experience. The hook, the strongest one is this mistake costed me weeks of wasted works. So now this is one of the problems with ChatGPT. Because this is a free account, it's not intelligent to know that the hook options I gave it were templates. So it just stole one and used it verbatim. That's one of the limitations of a free account. So Claude could tell that the hooks I used were hook types, right? It's a hook formula as opposed to one hook that you copy and paste. So if I was going to use the free one, I would just remind it that you don't need to copy the hook verbatim. It's a formula that you can use and how to change, right? So yeah, again, the only thing is I would change this the lesson, right? Yeah, I can be quite stubborn about that. So just like I posted here, I would say use the question the lesson question statement the lesson according to the AI Humanizer. So it changes that. Wow, it's already 1 hour. I've not even gotten to the custom document. So right? It's remove that, and now this is a document that you can just copy, and this is a LinkedIn post that you can just copy and make. See how easy it is when you've done the work behind. So that's LinkedIn content. It's also it's absolutely the same thing with Twitter, right? It's the exact same step with Twitter. So for Twitter, you would just let me go back. So if you go to Twitter content, right? This is supposed to open it in its own page. Full page, right? So this is the same thing for Twitter, right? For Twitter, you are also going to for Twitter, you're also going to, I mean, I'll link this video here. So for Twitter, you're also going to do the same thing. You're going to get your document. You're going to get your Twitter framework reference document. So that's here. So when you click this, you are taken to, just like I had the LinkedIn, I have the Twitter framework reference document. Again, same thing. Um, Same thing. Then you have your Twitter setup prompt, right? Again, same thing. So just copy the prompt and fix it. So you copy this Twitter setup prompt, right? And let me just look at, so let me just put in another tab instead of creating a new document. So this is your Twitter setup prompt, right? Let me just name it my setup prompt. So you also edit this. Again, if you are lazy, you can just copy this straight in here and ask it that based on what you know about me, fill in the items here. If AI knows a lot about you, it will fill it in. But I already done my own and I've got my own setup prompt. So let me show you. Again, it's the same principle, code, email, whatever, it's the same principle. So this is my my own Twitter setup prompt. So let me just name it. So then I filled in all the information that I need. So I can ask it to create a tweet. So I can now go into this and I can say that I can now go to the to the document. I can upload the Twitter, so I can the Twitter setup prompt as well as the it's taking a while to load, as well as the master framework document. So I've uploaded that as well. Again, if you're using a paid account, this is how you do it. In ChatGPT, you can do the same thing with a project. If you're using a free account, just upload it, just download as PDFs and upload it. And whenever you want to use it, just upload the document and you're good to go. So similarly, I can also add the prompt just like I did earlier. So again, you have this prompt, you have the document. I've uploaded it to my AI tool. Then I want to create my first tweet. So again, for free account, same thing. For paid account, so I can copy this tweet and say, or if I want to do a thread, for example, if I want to do a thread, let's start with a thread. Use my voice profile, Twitter setup, and let's just type it out. So I can say use my favors Twitter. I would say use the following documents. Favors Twitter prompt master Twitter framework reference and testing favors voice profile analysis to write a thread on. So this is the idea that I want to work on. This is the idea that I want to work on. So this is the idea. Again, like I told you, I'm not going to give you content ideas. You have to come and dump everything you want to write into the AI chat, and then I would mention that remember to use the instructions, not to follow the instructions in the AI Humanizer documents. All right, so I will leave it to cook. Give it a couple of minutes. Again, same thing for the free version, same thing for the paid version. It's basically the same idea. The only thing is that the restrictions that you have in terms of the features. So give it some time to cook. So personally I usually like looking at how it thinks, how my AI is thinking. So see, it's identified the task, then the content, then it's pulling information, it's pulling information, it's pulling information, pulling information. So it's like a contrarian. So you see, it shows the type of um, Twitter post. So I don't think I showed that, but if you look at you see that I also have the types of tweets. So I have, for example, I have the type of tweet and insight tweet, the process share, personal lesson, contrarian take. For threads, step-by-step threads, I have personal story thread, contrarian analysis thread, proving. Then I have hook formulas, and then again these are instructions that I give AI. So instructions that I give AI. So it will follow all these instructions specifically. So let's go back to Claude and you see structure. Let me create a thread that challenges conventional SEO focused content marketing wisdom with my specific experience, right? Here's why edit step instead of like wasting time. The playbook everyone follows. Build content calendar around keywords, optimize for search rankings, blah blah blah. Here's why it failed. At this particular company, it failed because we had the resources. At this company I'm working with, this approach is useless. We don't have time for 12-month SEO. Please, we need results now. Plus, people are not googling grant application software. Again, I didn't tell you that it's a grant application software, but because I filled in my LinkedIn setup prompts, it already got that context. So they are asking ChatGPT, right? So prospect founders to air recommendations. Founders book demos saying ChatGPT recommended you guys for grant management. We had zero blog content, just content LinkedIn messaging, blah blah blah. I tested it myself. I asked about African startup funding. It mentions companies I know personally that post about their work on LinkedIn, not because of their SEO strategy, but because of their authentic expertise shared publicly. This one hits me when analyzing our lead sources. 60% came through order in our attribution. They were not clicking from Google, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is a very, very decent tweet that 99% of people won't realize is actually written by AI, right? If there's no EM dash, there's no weird referencing, perfect, straight to the point. That's how it works. So that's for Twitter, right? So that's for Twitter. Let me rush so that I can. I didn't want this to be up to an hour. I was looking for 55 minutes. So that's how the Twitter content framework works. Let us go back to prompt vault. So let's go back to the framework library. Then we come to code email framework. Again, same basic context, right? Wait, this is supposed to be heading two, right? I see. Okay, this is supposed to be heading one as well. What did I do? Nope. It's supposed to be toggle heading one. Sorry. Okay, yeah, so the same thing, get the document. So you get the code email setup prompt. Again, we have our code email, master code email framework reference. I think I can close the one that I'm not using again. Let's close this one. So again, the same thing for code emails. I did a framework on how code emails work, the kind of emails we want to run, the kind of emails we want to run, the resource first email, the case study play, and then the hook formulas and subject line formulas, quality checklist, blah blah blah. So again, all of this information that again, and you can actually, when you make a copy, you can actually upload this particular document into your AI and ask it. Maybe for example, you have a book or a resource on code email, you can ask it to update this framework. That's the thing. You can ask your AI to actually update this framework. Like just tell it to update this framework based on, I don't know, best practices. Is there any type of code email that's favored in your reference? You can ask it to add it, and so it becomes more and more like you, right? This is not a gospel that you have to stick with. You can actually edit it to follow the way you want it to work. So if you have a way of working that fits you better, you can as well do that. So this is for code emails, right? And then you also have your code email setup prompt. So you have your code email. So we have this, then you have your code email setup prompt. So again, you copy this. This is basically supposed to be information about what you are doing. So your specific information about yourself. So where is that now? Where did I drop that? My setup prompt. Okay, so this is for LinkedIn. This is for Twitter. I can put this for code email. So this is for code email, right? What I'm doing. So I have my own code email setup prompt, right? So let me actually show you an example of a code email I wrote last, I think it was earlier this year. I didn't get the response I was looking for. I got a response, but not the one I was looking for. But you have an idea of how I thought about. So I mean, this would be in another, probably another product where I talk about how I actually analyze a company. So this is the level of detailed analysis I do on a company before I apply to them. So the problem they have, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm interested in is the offer. So AI helped me come up with a connection note, a follow-up DM, a LinkedIn email if they did not accept my connection, then a cold email. So basically, I've used this before, basically what I'm saying, and it actually worked. I think I got connected to them and I sent my cold email and it worked. So let's go to my cold email setup so you can see, how the specifics of my cold email setup document. So just like I had for Twitter setup, I had for LinkedIn setup, I also have for cold email setup. So here it is. You can see my professional background. Here's what I do, the problem I'm trying to solve, the goal, right? The industry I'm charging, the communication style, my unique differentiation, the proof points I can use, the results I have, the case studies that I have, then the trigger events that I watch out for. Again, all of this is just giving the AI as much context as possible. So if I'm going to write a cold email, for instance, I would go back here and I'll add my code email setup document. I'll add my code image setup document. I would add my, I think there's supposed to be a code email framework. Yeah, master code email framework. So I've added that. So just like I did for that one, I use those three documents and I tell it to write the code email for me. So to create a code email, you give it the information. So again, like I said, you have to research the company you want to send the code email to. I'm not going to tell you how to research. You're going to research the code email, the current code email to put up all the information. So for example, in this example, this is the person I'm targeting. Here's what they've raised, here's what they are trying to do. So all of that information, you need to provide it as in addition to all the documents. So just like I did with the former one, let me just open this in a new document. So I can just copy this prompt style. So I can just copy this prompt style. So I put it in Claude, right? So I already have my code email framework, code email setup document, then my voice analysis and my voice analysis and the humanizer instructions. Those are the 4 documents I really need. So using the following documents, so I'll change this to favors code email setup prompts. Code email setup prompts, master code email framework reference. Then the voice profile analysis, and then I'll give you the information I have. So for example, this is a company that I researched. I did not work with them. I didn't eventually reach out to them because I realized that it couldn't work sharp. This is the company that I want to look at. I wanted to reach out to a while back. So here's everything I know about them, and then at the end I would say, how did I say it before? I would say remember to follow the instructions in the AI Humanizer document. So using all of that information, again, all the documents and the project. Again, if you're using a free chat GPT, you just upload all of these documents into a new chat and again mention all of this and it works. So using all of that, I ask you to write a code email for me, and then ask it to, it takes context from all the information I've provided and then write out the code email for me, and that's how it works. So it's using the code email prompt to organize my position and my target audience, using it to structure the email, using it to make it sound like me, follow critical writing rules. So setup documents. Okay, so it's even telling me that it might be a slight mismatch, right? You see that it even noticed that there's a slight mismatch because this is actually not the kind of company, which is why initially I did not reach out to them, because they are not my target audience. They are not more early stage. They are much larger now. So right, so tap content strategy gap. So again, this is the email. Hi, just spent some time researching blah blah blah. Senior NFL impressive tech and partnership. I noticed something interesting. Your competitors have comprehensive content strategies, regular blogs, case studies, and leadership, while your resources page is mostly press releases. That's a missed opportunity. With personal partnership like yours, you could own the blah 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 blah. Again, proof. I specialize in turning great tech into market leading content strategies. What a quick chat about positioning. right? So again, that's an example of a cold email. Now, if I wanted to make it shorter, longer, add any edits, I can just simply add it in the chat. But that's basically how, to think about cold emails and how to use this system. So let's quickly jump to the next one, which is newsletter slash blogs. So let's go, you'd see newsletter slash blogs. So we're going to open in a full page, right? So the same thing, same process, right? We have how to write. I analyze some of the best blogs to come up with. Again, and funny enough, I created all of these frameworks with the framework creation document that I would create I'll create in the next section, right? I'm going to show you how to create in the next section. So yeah, so it's first step again, get your document, the newsletter prompt. Did I create my newsletter prompt? Yes, I created my newsletter prompt. I have the master framework reference. So again, you click the document, you have your master framework reference, right? I'm done with the code email, so I can close that. Right. So you copy, so this is the framework. So I copy the type of different content. Now this is much longer content. So there's a different way you use it, and I'll explain that. So for different types of content, this is if you want to break down an insight. For example, you want to talk about how you want to do a how to, here's how to do this. You want to talk about, and again, it comes with examples of hooks. You want to do about a case, if you want to write a case study, I have a template that does that. If you want to share contrarian opinion, I have that. You want to do quick content that maybe 500 less than 500 words, you have that. And proven. And then I also have different hooks that you can use. Again, when you're writing an article or a blog post or a newsletter, the first line, the first paragraph is most important. So this helps you create a very, very good first step, so to speak, right? So and there are different types of hooks that you can use. So these are specific instructions per section. So when you're doing the opening hook, when you're doing the context, when you're writing the main content section, the kind of elements to include, how to make it relevant, how to establish credibility, how to keep it. All of these things are very, very important. So as well as the closing and the CTA to direct instruction. So all of this, then this is probably the most detailed framework yet, because I mean blogs are really, really complex, right? So the first thing is that we are going to, instead of just writing it in one shot where I wrote all the others, and I just said, here's what I wanted to write, using the information, write it. We cannot do that here. We need to go step by step. If you ask AI to write a blog post or newsletter for you in full, it's right rubbish. You want to break it step by step. So the first thing is that you want to do the content planning. So what you want to do is you provide all the information about the target audience, what they're working for, blah blah blah. So you're going to have a content brief. The AI is going to give you a content brief. Then the next stage is to structure what structure are we using and what hook are we using. Then after that, it's to actually write out each section, right? So it's writing section by section. If you're okay with section, with subset, with like the section one, if you're okay with it, to write it first. If you're okay, it will go to the next section. If you're okay, to go to the next section. And then it's make sure that everything reads together, make sure that it works. And then if you want to add, maybe you want to add links, you want to add data points, it does that for you. So and then again, if you want to do SEO, metadata, same thing for if it's a newsletter, write a newsletter introduction, same process. And then if you want to distribute, this is it. So it basically creates the entire structure for you. And as you're getting each output, you want to be storing it into a document, right? So for example, you write the introduction, put it into a document that is like my blog post on X, put it into that document, and as you're writing it, keep adding it there. So yeah, and this is the instruction for AI. So you have the master newsletter framework. Going back, you are going to need your how to customize your blog newsletter. Again, same thing. You want to fill in all of this information, so just copy, paste it somewhere, right? This one was cool email, so just paste it somewhere, right? It tells you, you fill in this. I already have filled out mine because I don't want you to waste too much time. You're already on close to 90 minutes, by the way. That's a full. I've been talking for the length of a full football match. Jesus. Right, so I already have that. I already have my newsletter framework. So this is my own. So, I've talked about what I do. I've talked about my professional background, my target audience, my goals, my success metrics, my communication style. all of this interesting stuff. I've put it there so that when I'm writing a blog post, an article for myself. Now, if you want to use this to write for a client, obviously all the information here is going to be about the client. So for example, let's say I'm writing for Paystack. I'm not going to be putting stuff about my professional background. I'll be putting stuff about Paystack's background. I'll be putting stuff about Paystack's target audience. I'll be putting stuff about Paystack's goals. I'll be putting information about Paystack's success metrics, Paystack's communication style, Paystack's positioning. That's how I would do this. In case you are buying this to be able to work with, to use this for your client work. That's the goal. So I'm going to upload all of this into the chat into the chatbot, into my project, right? So again, remember, all of this works whether using ChatGPT free or paid, just that it might be a little bit easier. So let's add in my blog newsletter, then try again, then the newsletter framework document. So remember, like I said, we are not going to ask it to create the content in one go. We're going to ask it to break stuff down. So what I would recommend, as I explained here, is that you go step by step. So after you've uploaded your document, which you just did, create your first blog post. So you can see that I put a notification. You want to go a step-by-step process. You don't want to just ask it to create the blog post in one go. So the first thing you want to do is use these prompts to start the 5-stage process. Right, ensure you fill in information in the bracket and as well as other information and context that is important, right? And so you continue from there. So once you post this, it is going to continue following the process. So we can copy this, we can bring this into ChatGPT, into Claude, and we can say so we know that we are using testing voice favors. So we know that we are using the following document. Testing favors voice profile analysis. The master, so it's favors blog newsletter setup document. Favors blog / newsletter setup document and master blog and newsletter framework. Now the reason why I'm writing it is because we already have 4 different documents that have the same name, and if you are not specific, AI can go and be pulling information from the wrong one. But if you created a project, so assuming I created one project for LinkedIn, one project for Twitter, one project for cold email, I wouldn't need to be detailed about this. I would just write it out because it's going to pull in only what is here. But given that I have like 4 documents that have very similar names, I have to be very, very specific, right? So follow the multi-step. How do I stop this again? So do not skip ahead. So this is the topic I want to do. So this is basically the topic. This is the topic and the idea. So this is the topic. Let's say I want to call it so let's say this is the key message. I already have the key message, right? I have the key message. Then the target outcome is to get traffic. The key outcome is to get traffic and people to follow me for more insights. Then the topic, so I don't have a topic yet. I can call this why premium pricing sometimes fails. So again, the beauty of AI is that it can actually, you can talk to it. So I can remind it that remember to maintain the tone the instructions in the AI Humanizer document. And then I can also add another information like saying, so we will go stage by stage to ensure that I am comfortable with each stage before going to the others. You will not write the whole article in a go, rather build it step by step. Now, what I usually do anytime I have like a complex prompt, because this sometimes I can have like prompts that are like 5 times as long as this. What I usually would do is I'll ask it to reiterate what I've done. So I would say, if you understand my request, explain what I need you to do so that there is no mistakes. Sorry, there are no mistakes or mix-ups. Right, so now the first thing it's going to do is going to tell me what it wants to do, and then I can now start working step by step. So this is usually good anytime you're building something that is complex. Like anytime you're building something that is very complex, maybe you're writing an academic article, you're writing a YouTube script, so you need to build something that is very, very complex. So it's analyzing all the documents, right? But before that, there's stage port. I've given him some inputs. So he's breaking it down. So it's to help me create a blog post using my multi-stage process from the document, incorporating my distinctive voice and set of context. So stage by stage, starting with stage 0, then stage 1, and so on. We run the article in one go, build it step by step, right? So why premium pricing sometimes fails. So I need to gather all the inputs before we can move on structure. I've given some details, but I need some clarification. What I need from you. So who is my target audience? Who is my target audience? My 3 to 5 key evidence points, fundamental mistake. What did I mention? Fundamental mistake. So the fundamental mistake, right? Local angle, positioning, desired CTA. So I need to give them all this information. Now, this is what makes a good article because it's actually asking you for input. So now I can now start talking about my target audience. My target audience for this specific post is startups, Nigerian startups or businesses that want to appeal to the luxury segment of the market. They are probably facing some pushback on their prices and they don't know how to solve the problem. So verse 2 now 3 to 5 key evidence points. Now for this kind of example, I would usually have done my external research, but I didn't do much research, so I can ask it to, again, if I'm lazy, I haven't done specific research, but you can help me search the internet for examples of this that backfired, preferably Nigerian slash African examples, but global ones work too. So 3, the fundamental mistake. The fundamental mistake I was referring to is that they do not put in the work to justify the luxury pricing, both in terms of packaging, branding, and giving people a reason to think that they are premium. Right, so local angle opportunities, none come to mind, but you can suggest any that you find. Then for 5, direct CTA, I would want to get them to follow me on Twitter and also reach out if they want help with their with structuring their branding slash pricing not messaging to match their pricing. So let's go. And then, I might not complete the article because it's already like 1 hour 30 minutes. But that's basically the idea behind, how you use this. So it goes to stage 2. Once you're done with stage 2, stage 3, until all the document is ready. So that's how I designed this to work, right? So now let's move to stage 1. So it already has the insights. So it's already, so you can see it's doing the research, it's searching the web. So look for examples, is looking, searching the web, getting examples, searching the web, searching the web, searching the web. Right. Again, this is one of the advantages of if you have a premium account, because if this was not a premium Claude account, if I did this research, my limit would be up and I have to go to a new chat. But because I'm paying for Claude Max, I can do all of this. So if you are using Claude, okay, so it has all the information. So this is the brief. So basically, this is the brief, right? This is the brief. All right. So this is an entire brief, right? So you need to choose the best template. Insight explainer. Since I'm breaking down a complex topic, the hook options, the tension. So I think I personally would like the first one. So I just think I like the first hook. Again, it does all the work for me. Again, because I've given it frameworks, context, and structure, it becomes way easier to be able to give me the results I want. So I think I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to write the full document. I'm not going to write the full blog post because I don't want this to turn into a 2 hour 2 hour video. We're already approaching 1 hour 30 minutes, and I still have to teach how to use the custom framework builder. So this is the hook, right? This is the hook. Then at the end of this post, you understand why premium pricing falls and the exact framework luxury brand used to justify high prices to experience design. So this is the structure, hook cost context setup, right? The core insights, thinking premium prices about the price, the reality, then the supporting point, example, another supporting point, another supporting point, what works and what doesn't, the actionable framework, right? And then the single city, so about 1,100 words. So if I wanted to adjust anything, maybe I wanted to say add this section or remove this section, right? I would say no, but if I am cool with it, I'll just say I am cool with this structure. Let's go to section development. So and just it just basically runs through that framework document and boom, you have everything you are doing. So that's how you can use this AI system to start writing. Again, like I said, if at any point in time there's anything you want to change, you can just tell it that, oh, change this, change this, change this, and it's smart enough to make the decision. So right, so this is the complete first draft. It's going to do the complete first draft of everything, right? So I probably would say that I want better subheadings, right? Once you're done writing everything, so I would say that I want, so it's so you can see it has written all the information, blah blah blah. So what do you use? 4-player luxury framework. Again, I didn't even give it all of this. He did his research and it came with all of these ideas, right? So you see here, right? So this is approximately 150 words. So I go to stage 3, ask it. Now, if at this point I say that, okay, instead of writing, so I would say that I like this. So I can say I like this, but the subheadings are not SEO friendly or interesting enough to get people to read. Do you want to fix it now or in a future or in a later stage? So now if there's any specific, portion I did not like, if there's a specific portion I did not like, I can ask them to change. I can ask the AI to change it. So, and that's how it works. Like that's basically how it works. So just whatever you don't like, whatever you're not satisfied with, ask it to change it, ask it to fix it, and it to do that. So let's go to, while it is going, let's go to the next step, which is custom. We're almost done. Custom framework builder. So uh let me open that. So that this is the probably the deepest part. But the concept is simple, right? The first thing you want to do is, like I said, it's more advanced, so you're gonna have to walk through it slowly. So the first thing you want to do is you want to read through everything. So if you want to build your custom framework, here's why. Then you should use this when you are building something that is not, you don't have a template for it. So the way it works is that so the three-stage process. So the first is pattern analysis. You carry lots of different sources, just where I copied a lot of my posts, my tweets, whatever kind of content you want to create a framework for, you copy different successful versions of it. So it will be different successful YouTube scripts, whatever it is. Then you ask AI to convert those information into reusable templates and guidelines. Then you get your own master framework reference document. Then I'll ask it to build the setup template I need for daily use, right? So a 3 document system, just like the voice. So for example, this is how I built the cold email framework, right? I came up with 10 cold emails that actually got responses. Then it identified the patterns. It come up with the master framework reference. It comes up with the using my cold email framework prompt and my cold email setup template. And at the end, I have all the 3 documents. So let me quickly run you through this with I'm going to do it with Upwork. Upwork proposal. I use my Upwork proposal samples. So this is like a free demo. If you watch to this point, you are getting how I typically structure my Upwork proposal. So let's first start. So what you need is that it's extract the DNA of successful content. So what you need to start is high quality examples and the specific goals that I want you to do. So how you know that the examples are good enough? Did it generate results? For example, most of these proposals either got me a job or they got me a response. So it works. So the first thing is that I will copy the prompt into a new Google Doc. I'll customize the bracketed sections, and then I usually would not recommend that you copy the samples into the chat itself. I prefer that you copy the content into a Google Doc. So for example, I have my Upwork proposal samples. I think I'm done with this. So right. No, if you look at, so this is the blog post that I was working on. So the subheadings are boring. It's fixing it. So it's right. You see, it has changed the subheadings, right? So right, that is, so I can ask it to update the graph with these new subheadings or move to stage 3. But again, we're going to end this here. You already have an idea of how it works. So I have my LinkedIn, right? I have my LinkedIn post here, right? I have my LinkedIn post here. What's going on? This is incomplete. Yeah, so so this is it. So again, the company is not called Superpass. I had to change it because I'm currently working with this company, but so these are all examples of the LinkedIn, the Upwork proposals that I used, right? These are examples of all the Upwork proposals that I used to apply for jobs. So right, I'm going to take all of that information and I'm going to take all that information, and what's next is that I am going to first copy this prompt and I'm going to put it inside a chat, right? So I'm going to put this inside a chat. So I'm going to put this inside a chat. Maybe I should put it inside a document first. I should put it inside a document first so that I can see it clearly. So I need to analyze the uploaded, I'll call it Upwork proposal examples. So content, so it is Upwork proposals. The intended outcome is to get clients to reply / agree to a call and eventually hire me. Then the target audience usually would be clients on Upwork, usually business owners who need my specific skills. Now, depending on the skills that you have, you might need to add more context, right? So, for example, I did this Upwork for my own. I did this for my own industry, which is marketing. So the examples you're going to come up is going to be related to marketing. But for your own, right, you can tailor it for different types of proposals. So I can also ask it that I can actually add in that I want this framework to be able to work for different fields and not just marketing. So I can add that in. So Socrates criteria would be getting a reply from the client and changing and getting hired on Upwork. So now I would add a note here that PS, while my samples are focused on the marketing niche, I want the framework to be able to work for any niche or skill set. Don't make it marketing focused. So I'm uploading the document name titled Upwork Proposal Examples, right? I've got a document titled Upwork Proposal Examples containing I think I have about 5 examples of successful Upwork proposals. So language and tone, blah blah blah. So I copy all of this, right? I bring it into Claude, right? I go back to voice analysis, I bring it into Claude, and then I add in the Upwork proposal samples. In the project file. So if you're using a free account, you just mentioned, attached above or something like that. So you're going to give it time to cook, and then to come up with a detailed framework, right? It's going to come up with a detailed framework. So that's the first step. Give it enough time to cook. So F5. So you can see organization flow, key sections, opening hooks, bold insight, direct analysis, what works, lead to the client's problem, content patterns, blah blah blah, all of that. So while that is loading, the next step after that would be we are going to save it in a Google document, and then we are going to use it to create a framework. So we transform again, this is just an analysis, right? This is just an analysis. We need to transform it into, okay, so the key insight is that these are not traditional proposals at all. They are strategic business development conversations that happen to be delivered through Upwork's platform. Your positioning as a strategic partner is already thinking about their business, not a service provider hoping to get hired. So I copy everything here, right? I copy everything here. If I don't like this, I might ask you to put it inside. So I create a new document called, so should we doc.new? I create a new document called, right, I create a new document called, what did I say? It's called pattern analysis for Upwork profile. So nope, we call it pattern analysis for Upwork profile, right? So now the next step, according to the template, is that you take the pattern analysis, right, that we want to do. So we want to create a framework. So this is the result of the pattern of analyzing the pattern, but now I want to turn it into a framework that you can use, because in this position it's not really usable yet. So I copy this prompt, right? I copy this prompt, and I'll put it in a document. I think we put that, where do we put that now? So we put that here. So I'll put the prompt here so that you can see it in detail first. So I need to convert my pattern analysis to a usable framework for creating Upwork proposals. So I think we can copy this section, right? We can copy this section here because it's basically the same thing. So we can copy this section and put it here. So we'll call it favors Upwork proposal framework, right? And then we just paste the rest. So I've uploaded my pattern analysis document with the title. What did we title it? Pattern analysis for Upwork profile. So we just copy this, set of fonts, title, determine if this content requires single shot creation, right, or multi-step creation. Based on this determination, now create a master framework reference that includes blah, 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 all of this, be detailed to the point of obsessiveness. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy everything here. I'm going to come to here and I'm going to start a new chat. I'm going to now add, now, you know what I had before was proposal examples. I'm now going to add the, I'm going to add the pattern analysis document. Let's see, pattern analysis, this is, that's not it. Pattern analysis, okay, so share, copy link, add to Cloud. So it's updating that. Well, that is why it's pulling the information. Let's go to the setup prompt, copy Cloud. So that's pulled it in. So I paste this now. So why does it say content type? I was saying content type. Create effective Upwork proposals. So I would say PS, PPS. So what I'll do is, again, because it's a very, very detailed prompt, I can ask it, if you understand the task, please explain it to me first before you start. Also make sure that you can see the document that I referenced. All right, so it's going to load. I'm speaking for almost 2 hours, Jesus. So it's basically going to tell me that, oh, I understood what you were asking for, and it's going to return it to me. So once it does that, once it understands and returns it to me, then so it is single shot creation, right? I want to create a Upwork proposal framework, a comprehensive detailed reference document that converts a successful Upwork proposal patterns into a reusable system for creating winning Upwork proposals. Determine the creation type. Since Upwork proposals are 1,150 to 300 word pieces created in one go, build a master framework with all of these documents, content guidelines, closing patterns, quality checklist, AI usage instructions, make it obsessively detailed, right? So I will now say yes, go ahead with creating, yes, go ahead with creating this framework, but put it in an artifact so that I can copy it and paste into a Google Doc. Also, in the instructions, in the AI usage instructions session, it should recommend that, it should note that this will be used in conjunction with live Upwork proposals, i.e. Upwork jobs rather. To use this, I would paste an Upwork job and the AI will use the framework to actually create a compelling proposal. So give it some time to cook and then it will start creating it in an artifact. Again, if it is Canva, if it is I said Canva, if it is ChatGPT, you can just ask it to create it in Canvas. So ChatGPT has Canvas, so it makes it easier to copy because you can just copy with one button. So let's give it some time to load, and then it's one. So let me pause until it is okay. Yeah, is already thinking about it. And so I can copy to Google Doc, notes in the usage instructions, like using instructions like help do blah blah blah. So structural patterns, you can see opening hooks, you can see content patterns, you can see closing patterns, you can see language and tone. You can see a comprehensive framework. So you can see structure templates, right? Value for strategy proposals, which is funny because I actually have a document in my I have a document in my AI in my what's the word? I have a document in my in my project. I have a project called Upwork. This is where I have a proposal template called Value First Proposal. So it's nice to see that it actually cuts that. So it's coming up with the the template. It's coming up with the different templates that we could use, the different types of template that we could use, um, right? Um, so so it's coming up with the template, right? So while it's coming up with the template, the next thing we want to do after we create the framework is to so to have fill in the template, backgrounds, it's going to have 3 to 5 specific structures, 10 to 15 hook formulas, detailed content, closing patterns, quality checklists, and AI usage instructions for how to apply it. So we have that. So the next step is our daily implementation system. And so this stage basically tells you how, it creates 2 tools for how you are going to sort of implement it. So what do you need before starting? I need the completed master framework reference and then how I would use this particular tool. So we're going to answer the question of how to use it. So the first thing we're going to do is create the daily implementation prompt. So every time I want to use it, I would say I need you to create blah 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 using blah blah blah. So and my personal context setup. So if I want to apply for a job, I'll take the screenshot of the job or the post of the job, the text of the job, post it to AI, use this prompt as well to go along with it, and then I would have the context. Remember, I had all my context set up, all my context. Oh, I've already deleted it. So, but you I remember showing you like this setup, like something like this. So something like this, right? The same way we had this for. Nope, 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 nope. This is supposed to be. I'm supposed to copy the link. So yeah, if you look at this, right, we are going to need something like this that we're going to also upload with, I'm going to upload this with the framework. So you will need something like this as well. So we're going to need to create those 2 documents, this document and then that prompt that we can use every time we want to apply for a job. And I'll actually use it to sort of apply for a job right now. So the context setup template, and that's basically what we are going to use. So we're going to be using the master framework reference, the daily content creation prompt, which is this one for each specific job we want to apply for, and then the content, this context setup. So like I said, this part I need to pause, rewind. Sorry, I know it's very bulky, it's very dense, but understanding this is what will give you the result that you're looking for. So let's go back and see if it is done. So it is done, right? It is done. So it is done. It came up with 5 detailed templates, 15 hooks. It covers every section. It's covers the usage checklist. So it has everything. So you can see how detailed this is. So that's how I create my framework. So I copy, then I'll come and create a new document and call it Upwork. So I call it Upwork proposal. So Upwork proposal framework, right? So I'll call this Upwork proposal framework. So this is what I will put as don't change, right? So that's true. So this is how many pages now? This is 17 pages, right? So you have the content structure, so the kind of job, so the value for strategy proposal, the custom analysis proposal, the results first pitch, the industry expert approach, the problem solution bridge, and then the hooks that you want. Contrarian problem hook, market insight hooks, direct analysis hooks, industry authority hooks, results first hook, value first hooks, then the guideline. What you would in this section, hook, all right, what to put in the hook, how to demonstrate value, how to build credibility, how to, the elements to include, how to position myself, how to implement a tactical insight, and how to establish credibility, specific numbers, strategic thinking. So for these numbers, I would recommend that you use your resume. So if you have a resume, it's good to put in anything that has to do with applying for jobs. If you have your resume there or your Upwork profile there, you can sort of pull information from that. Professional positioning, evidence and proof standards. It was good to actual work samples, include build decision, what is link demonstrate, should be writing works types, load quickly and be mobile friendly, case studies, metrics and number be specified, show progressive over time, the type of words to use, right? Words to avoid, sentence structure, then closing, enough talk, let's chat, what a quick conversation, ready to discuss, let's make this happen, blah, blah, blah. So again, very, very detailed, right? So this is the framework. Now that we have the framework, we now need to work on the final two things, which is we need to work on the context document. So we need to take this, right, and we need to fill it. So we take this and we bring it to, where's the setup prompt? So we bring it to the setup prompt and we add it, and then we would copy it and make a copy of this, doc.new, right? And so I'll copy this and then I'll edit it, right? So I'll say favors Upwork context document. So I can say 150. So my Upwork. So for example, I can say that this is supposed to be heading 2, supposed to be heading 1. So professional experience. So I could say that I am an experienced. I can just, you know what? I can just go and steal it from my LinkedIn prompts, so I don't spend too much time. So I can steal it from there. So right. So I just copy this part. Makes it useful. So right. So I am Favor Yusuf. Professional background, expertise areas, key achievements, communication style, what makes me different. Then content, what do I want to achieve with these proposals? Get clients to view my proposals and send me invites. Send me invites for interviews. Secondary goal, hire me to solve their company's problem on a long-term basis. So success metrics, other than if the client is impressed enough to hire me. So who am I usually working with? I'll take small early stage startups, early stage B2B SaaS startups. Audience characteristics, usually small team or solo founder looking to get their first 100 paying users. How this communication? So I don't think this is important. Industry specifics, challenges relevant. They want someone to solve their acquisition and retention issues. They want someone that will come in and build out the marketing engine that will get them paying users. Competitive landscape, I don't think this is important. What's working in my industry right now, I don't think this is important. Again, if I was lazy, I would just ask AI to actually apply. I should have done that. I would just ask AI to fill it. That's the fastest thing actually, because I talked about it twice. So let me actually go and do that. So I would say that I need but I would use the information that AI has about my Upwork. So if I go to job search, right? So I would say using all the information you have about my skills, target audience, and Upwork position, I want you to fill out the information below for a Upwork proposal context setup document. Again, so if you have an AI that has enough context, you can just do this. If not, you have to fill it manually. But I don't have the time, so and put the answer in an artifact. So yeah, let's let it answer. So let it answer. Let it try and answer all the questions. So I can just copy and go and use it. So professional background, industry experience, key credentials, unique positioning. Not perfect, but not exactly perfect because it is. So this is the problem because it is confused about because I have a lot of documents. It is confused. So there are some things that it doesn't know. There's some things that it doesn't know or is compiling together. So for example, now this one where it talks about B2B SaaS founders, business owners with 10 to 50 million in revenue. That's not my target. My target is actually um, early stage, um, early stage startups, not people that are doing 50 to 100 million in revenue. That's from a different document. So that's everything. So copy this. So this is going to be my Upwork proposal context setup document, and I just put. I don't need this. So I just put this now. I think I will just put this on top. So I already have all the information, the role, the industry experience, the credentials, content goals. So primary audience is going to be early stage startups, early stage CTOs with less than revenue looking for strategic marketing help. So that's the part that it missed that I would probably change. So industry specific, competitive landscape, current trends, um, tone constraint, topics to avoid, blah blah blah. So this is basically my context setup. Um, so I have my context setup. So context setup back to Jesus Christ, this is 2 hours. Then I now have this particular so daily. If I want to use this daily, I can use this, right? So let's go back to the setup prompts page and create a new. So if I want to apply for a job, I would say I need to create an Upwork proposal. Create an Upwork proposal using my master Upwork proposal framework reference document, and what should I call it? Upwork Upwork context document. So I call this setup prompt. Yeah, Upwork context and my personal context. It should be context, not content. Effective Upwork proposals. So here's what I want to create. What do I want to create? Upwork proposals that are short and direct to the point, that get me hired. Target outcome: client should ask for, should reply me with an interview and ask that I that and eventually hire me. Basically, key points to include: request for specific examples that of previous work that matches the project. Audience consideration. Nah, I don't need this. Create Upwork proposal. Create the Upwork proposal. So now what I will do is I'll come to Claude, right? And I'll go into the proposal. So it has created the context document. So let's say, for example, I want to. Nope. This one is supposed to be for personalized. Yes. So I'll now add the document. So for example, I would add favors Upwork content. It's supposed to be context. Let me change that. Context. So this is the context document, right? And then I have my, where is it now? Where did I put the framework? Nope, not this one. Yes, Upwork proposal framework. Don't change your proposal framework. So now let's come to Claude. Let me add it. Don't change your proposal framework. That's like 17 pages. Wow, this is 2 hours of. This is 2 hours. If you watch up to this point, you deserve a gift. So then the next one is favors Upwork context. It's supposed to be context, not content, but basically the same thing. So the first thing first is that I will copy the prompt. So now we have the context document, the proposal framework, and then the setup, the prompt. So I'll copy this, right? And then I will paste it in here. I'll paste it in here. Document both attached in the project files. So read through the master framework document, read through my Upwork proposal framework document completely. It contains, so here's what I want to create. Key points to include. So I would also, so before I'll say PS, PS, I need you to go through the document and explain if you understand exactly what I was or I am trying to achieve, and explain it to me so that we can get started. So again, instead of asking it to create, I first ask it to explain if you can access those documents and explain itself to me. So explaining itself to me. So give it a few seconds. 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 It's going through, so it's pulling information from all those documents, thinking through it, right? The template types, then the structural pattern, formulas, so the context setup. So this is my context setup, which will of course differ for you. Yeah, this is the problem now. So the problem is that it's trying to use my authentic storytelling, Nigerian expressions, blah blah blah. Does not, that I might want to change. So I'm bringing up proposals that position my strategic marketing consultant, win high value projects, voice differentiation. So it's going to do, it needs the job posting. So once I give the job posting, it can create a proposal that frames it. So for example, let's go and look for a job posting on Upwork. Let's enter Upwork and pick a job posting that I would typically want to apply for. Let's see, virtual assistant, nope, nope, SMM, nope, nope, content editing, No. Okay, this is good. So I would open this. Uh, I would open this, for example, and then I would copy everything here. Oh, wait, they want somebody that can. You want all of this and you're paying $100. Don't that fire you? Right, let's see. Let's see if we can find more jobs. Canada African Team Trivia game. Which is French. All-rounder marketing assistant. Okay, this is a job that I could, for example, want to do. Right. So right. So example. So for example, I could copy this. So I would copy this job posting. I could take a screenshot, whichever one, but I can't take a screenshot because I'm recording. So I would copy this. So this is the job proposal. I'll add it here. This is the job proposal. And I'll put PS. You can put dummy experience slash dummy experience slash numbers, or leave placeholders that I will replace with my real experience. Now, if I had time, I would have put in like all my context. So, for example, my resume, some of the document that I've worked on, some of the samples that I want to work on, like for example, my positioning document that I've worked on, content calendars, marketing plans that I've done. I'll load everything in there so that when it's writing, it knows which to pull from or where to pull from. Because, for example, when I was using this, you see, it could pull out an example like deep opinion, right? Because it has that information in the project document. It could pull this out. But this new chart doesn't have that document. So it cannot pull in experience that will make it sound like me. But I can tell it to either add dummy experience or put in placeholder that I'll have to personally edit with my personal experience. And then another thing is that PS, don't use any sections like headings or bullets, as Upwork cannot parse them. Rather, just use space and write straight forward. Right, so let's pause here. Right, so just click. So again, adding information that's right. So I don't want you to use headings or bold or anything, or bold text or italics. Right, so write them straightforward. Boom. So now it's going to, I've given the job, and then it's going to write the proposal for me. So of course, using the one of the frameworks that I've created. Right, so you can use this framework, for example, to build an Upwork profile writer. So you could just go to Upwork, copy like 15 of the best Upwork profiles in your niche, right? And then use this same process to create a framework that allows you to write a great Upwork profile template. Or even you could do for headlines, you could do 20 or 50 different headlines and then use that to generate your own headlines. So that's it. So, hi there, looking for a marketing assistant who can handle B2B SaaS research, blah, blah, blah. Instead of missing my virtual assistant credential, so I researched your industry and created a sample competitive intelligence brief that shows exactly how I approach SaaS market research, including competitor feature, tracking, content analysis, and actionable insights. To show that I'm right fit for the right to complete a research package for the company at no cost, which would include this exactly, right? So again, template, train how I do stuff. I have X years at what I've done, what I want to do, what I'm going to do for them, just to show what systemic research. So again, this is a proposal that I would write. Probably I might ask it to um, reduce make it a little bit shorter, but this is actually a very, very good proposal, right? This is a very, very good proposal. It's an example of proposal that I would actually use. if I'm working for a company that I think is worth it. So again, this is a good Upwork proposal. I just need to ask, I just need to fill in with what I worked on, and that's it, right? Marketing teams at, you know, type of company that working. It could be early stage, it could be B2B, whatever, fill it in, and that's how I get my Upwork proposal. So that's how I actually literally have a document called Advanced Upwork Proposal, and it follows this actual exact framework. So it's something that I actually use, right? It's not something random, it's something that I actually use. So that's how to create framework. So you could see that we created the framework document. So we created my context document, we created the framework, and then we created my personal setup prompt, right? I created my personal setup prompt. So those three things, you have your workbook, you have your framework ready to go. So you can do this for YouTube script, you can do this for ad copy, you can do this for landing page copy, you can do this for email copy, whatever it is, you can do this because again, you're just taking examples of successful things that have worked and then condensing them. Another approach is to look for anybody that's created a template. So for example, the people that create templates, you can just take their template and ask AI to, sort of reproduce the template, but in your own voice. Again, the possibilities are endless. I'm looking forward to seeing what you build. So the final thing that I'm going to cover is the humanize and optimize, but that one is really, really easy. I don't even think I'm going to explain. It's very, very easy. So basically, in case you get content from your AI that is not the best, right, you can humanize it. It's very, very simple. So you can just copy whenever you get a piece of content and maybe you're not satisfied, you can just copy this prompt and paste it and ask it to do any of this. So for example, if maybe you see that it's sounding too similar, you can ask it to vary the sentence rhythm, add natural transitions. So you just copy this paste and put it under whatever chart you are doing put it under. Therefore, the optimize, if it's not, maybe the content sounds human, but it's not hitting the goal you want, it's not communicating what you want it to communicate. So one of the first things you do is that you restate your end goal. So for example, you notice that most of the things I was writing, the frameworks I was writing, there was always a goal. So for the Upwork proposal, it told me the kind of goal I wanted. For the LinkedIn and Twitter, my goal was either to get followers or to get traffic and all of these kinds of things. If it's about if again I did this with my newsletter. If it's a complex thing, ask it to break it into stages. Now for Upwork proposal, it's not complex, so it doesn't need to break it into stages. But if you're building something like an email sequence, for instance, you might need to break it into stages, right? So that's another technique. So if you are getting results and it's not working, you can ask the framework, or you can go back to the framework and say, this framework is a little bit too complicated to run in one shot. Can you break it down into multiple processes? AI is smart enough to build and break it into processes, right? And then you can add specific constraints, right? So maybe you want to reduce the length or the width, you want to make it control, like the specific tweaks that you want to make it have, so that it reflects your creativity. And then the last thing to do is talk about what you want your readers to feel. So if you can give the AI an example of what you want your readers at the end to feel, it makes it work better, right? So those are basically how it works. So these are basically how you know these commands work. So that's the whole system. This is 2 hours and 12 minutes. Again, I'm sorry that this is too long. I will post video as once, but I'm going to use chapters so that you can jump around to whichever chapter you want. So you can jump around to whichever chapter you want. I'll add the chapters, and I also put this in the group. So again, it's very long, I know. I'm sorry. I tried to make it as short as possible, but it took a while. But yeah, that's basically that's basically the whole product. That's basically the whole how to make AI right thank you. Like I said, it's something that I've been working on for over 3 years, and I condensed all the information I had over 3 years. I might do a future version 2 of this that is more streamlined, better videos, but for now, that's everything I have in my head, and that's how it works. So I hope that you find this useful, and when you build stuff, please let me know. If you go to the end of this document, I did ask that you can join our community. So there's a WhatsApp community that you can join. We meet a lot of people. I think we have about 30 or 40 people. We're going to be talking about all we are doing, and then we also, if you also have a group where you can post stuff you are building or you've built. So if you want, you can create a framework that you are ready to share with the world. I would have a section here called community generated framework. So if you want to contribute a framework based on your specific expertise, feel free to contribute. It's always wanted, and if whatever results you're able to generate, please let us know. Let me know so that I can use it to brag that, hey, using this AI prompts, whatever this person has been able to either write a code email that gets view, that got them a job or whatever. That's it. So yes, this is everything. Thank you again. Thank you so much for purchasing this. I really do appreciate you, and I hope that you find it very, very useful. Thank you.